Well, I'm now going on a road trip to deliver fruit and veg around the state of Colorado. Let me show you what I see around this single state of the United States. Well, we start our trip in Paonia, over the railway, past the prefabs and into the town. This town at one time boasted more churches than any other town in the United States. And I've got to say, every side of the road is a church. Church after church after church. Remember, this is a road trip, so therefore you'll be seeing my mirrors and a dirty windscreen. Another church. Literally, there are hundreds of churches in this town. Another church. Another prefab. Another street of prefabs. And of course, before we get to the end of the street, another church. To go out here for an evening with a meal and a drink would cost more than most people in the world would earn in an entire month. Well, off on the road trip we go. Paonia, should I say Paonia, is fruit, vegetables, farming and the forests, and of course the Americas. In Paonia with the mountains, believe it or not, even though there is a train, it only comes in to pick up coal. There is no public transport whatsoever in this town. If you need to go somewhere, somebody needs to give you a lift. Can you imagine being in a town with no buses and no trains? This in front of us is a school bus. Everybody must stop both sides while the lights are on and the school bus picks up the children. You're not actually allowed to go past it. man-made reservoirs, which is almost the whole of the area seems to be man-made reservoirs holding the rivers back. Beautiful. This is called, believe it or not, the Bay of Chickens. The Bay of Chickens. A little bit of fish farming. Here in Colorado, there is literally tens of thousands of ranches like this one, with thousands sometimes of cattle. Here, as you can see, many deer in this whole area. There are thousands of wild deer. Cattle ranching across this area. Today I've seen my first wolf. And here, cattle ranching. Moving cattle from one area to another. Boys on horseback. Beautiful sunny day here in Colorado. The ranchers are on horseback, moving their cattle from one ranch to another. The mountains, the plains, the rivers, and of course the sun beating down. Just look at the forests. Dead. Buena Vista, Colorado. Translated in Spanish, great view. This is it. You can see the mountains and the plains. Don't forget, when you're in America, have a nice day. Plains of Colorado. Here people are making their homes on the plains. They come in with their RVs and start to make their claim to start a new life. Literally, by the hundreds of thousands. Look across there, that isn't little pig units. That's human living on the plains. The government is opening up these plains for settlers, and over the whole of these plains the new settlers are moved in with their RVs, starting to make themselves little houses and starting to cultivate and use the plains. It's absolutely mind-boggling. These are Colorado plains. They go on for miles and miles, and you just see a caravan and someone starting to build their family home. There's one on the mountainside there. But on some of these areas where people have less money, so they purchase less land, it's incredible. The new eco warriors that want to be surviving off-grid. Mind-boggling. And as I look across here, another plane, remembering I'm on a road trip, so you'll be able to see the vehicle all the time. There's little dotted white things. These are RVs and a little shed next door, and soon to become a house. Here, a container just set up. Somebody's bought the land, another container, another RV. Container after container after container. The wild animals in between, and new families coming here to settle in Colorado. Everywhere I've seen, even in the townships and the villages, there's temporary homes. But this is new. There you see, as you look across, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 25 new settlements, family settlements, where they've come in, they bought the land and settled, bringing their RVs in the beginning or a caravan. And here on this side, wild, looks like antelopes. These whole plains here are full of wild animals, deer. You can see those deer just feeding, hundreds. It's an experience just to come here. As I say, today I've seen my first wolf, and I'm sure that there's coyotes and every other thing. But these families are being given an opportunity to come on the plains of Colorado, set up their ranches and their family homes, and be as one with nature. There's nothing quite like a road trip across Colorado. Here again, I can see the white and brown dots in the field. Herds and herds of wild deer. The big RVs, 4x4s, everything in this country seems to be large. And every so often on the road, we see the blood of an animal that was run down by a truck or a car. Reminds me of how the Wild West was set up in America 200-300 years ago. When you set up your town, you set up your little place in the country, you never know whether you're going to be scalped by an Indian, or somebody just come along and put a bullet in your head. An outlawed country. There on the horizon, an RV appears, and a new settlement, a new family, new life in the plains of Colorado. 2 hours into our drive, just outside there's Wendy's, and the snow is starting to come down heavily. Even the snow plows have started to come out. Incredible. And that's why many of these people on the plains that have started their first winter, many of them don't survive. That doesn't mean they perish, but they just understand that they can't take the harsh winters. It's just a new way of life. And here we are. In a town in the middle of Colorado. Colorado Mountain Brewery and Mountain Grill. We're now on the outskirts of Colorado Springs, and within no time at all we could see the building of the flats and high-rise things that we haven't seen since we left Peonia. Well, here we go, Colorado Springs on the way. Wherever you seem to go in the US, the road is littered with gas-guzzling 4x4s or large vehicles and trucks. This community is almost a new community. There, under the mountains, you can see the Academy of the Royal Air Force. And then the lorry we're driving, which is a small lorry, is continually having to be filled up with gas, gas, gas. This is all new communities being built for who? Using plastic on the outside of the houses. And the mountains in the back, the takeaways, superstores, consumerism upon consumerism. Banks, churches, well, this is the state of Colorado. Well, in the distance you can see Denver, Colorado. And that's where we're headed for. And that's where we're at after our road trip across the state of Colorado. Here, industrialization and the extent of building is incredible. America is just basically getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The larger population simply is using every resource the world has to offer. As it prints the dollar, cuts down the trees and prints the dollar, it simply becomes wealthier and wealthier without having to do anything at all besides print the currency.